I haven't done anything wrong.
Open the door.
I'm not breaking any laws.
Open the door.
Man.
I don't want to break the glass.
Don't do it, man. It's not even my truck.
I know, well then open the door.
Man, this is absurd. I can't believe you would do this. I've complied as much as I need to.
Stand back.
No. Shit.
This was a time when US territories were making proposals to be states, and new states were popping up left and right. So if these tribes wanted to band together and make a state of their own, this was their time. They called the state Sequoia, in honor of the man who created the Cherokee writing system. And so the year before all the tribal governments were to be abolished by law, the tribes held the Sequoia Constitutional Convention, where hundreds of spectators gathered to watch the delegates create and write a constitution, complete with a Bill of Rights, trade regulations, tax policy, county borders. And by the end of it, they had produced this 35,000-word document separated into 18 articles, 270 sections, that had everything they needed for a proper state. It was unanimously ratified, and in a public vote, overwhelmingly endorsed by the citizens in Indian Territory. And honestly, if you read this document, it's kind of a story. From the population to the economy to education and taxable wealth, they deserve to be a state. But then they appeal to the humanity of the government that had done so much harm to their people, their culture, and their home. They appeal to this, quote, natural right of people to govern themselves, quote, by the fact that we constitute a separate and distinct community from any on earth with a different history, associations, and ideals and hopes. These people had been boxed out time and time again, and now they were appealing to the values of these Europeans who had taken their land, using their language and their legal tools to make the case for their statehood. Okay, so now with their well-formulated constitution, their solid proposal, their maps, all of it in hand, the tribal leaders went to Washington, ready to lobby for a state. And Congress didn't even look at the proposal. Like they didn't even look at look at it. It wasn't like a debate. It's just like they just were like, no, of course not. It was like dead on arrival. First, just because of plain old politics. The Republican majority at the time didn't want a state that would mean more senators and congressmen for Democrats, something that Republican President Teddy Roosevelt especially didn't like. It was also about resources. Sequoia had oil and farmland that Oklahoma Territory didn't have. And we're gonna let the native people have like all these resources. But in addition to this, many white lawmakers didn't like the idea of a state run by brown people. So the proposal died. Sequoia never became a state. If there was going to be a state, there could only be one. And indeed, 2 years later, a new map was drawn. All of this land that was going to be Sequoia was swallowed into a new state, the 46th, Oklahoma. But of course, they wouldn't throw away all the work that these tribes had put into Sequoia's constitution, so they just sort of took it for themselves. The Oklahoma Constitution is basically word for word what was written in Sequoia's constitution. One historian called it, quote, the ultimate cut and paste job. So this is what Oklahoma looks like. And they reserved one small chunk for the native people to govern themselves up here. So just as a quick recap, time-lapse of the whole thing, remember that first Americans, the people who had lived here for thousands of years, went from roaming freely around all of this to being driven out and dumped into this rectangle, and then eventually cut in half, and then gridded up square by square and sold, to then being further reduced to this. Today, there are 39 recognized tribal nations in Oklahoma, but just one of them has a reservation. Now listen, this is one little shred of the history of the people who lived on this land. This same process happened all over the country as Europeans moved to every corner of the continent.
Nerves are rattled right now, keeping an eye on the woods, because I know those woods down there, they go run right back here. And I got my daughter inside.
How old's your daughter?
She's 10 years old. And it's very unnerving right now.
Seeing those officers with those long guns walking through
That actually made me feel better. I wish I had a firearm.
Just like we just did here, someone heard something, they called. It's the right thing to do. I'd rather it turn out to be a deer than...
That makes me feel a million times better.
I felt I had every right to call her out on her behavior.
El Monte resident Gabby Leos makes it very clear how she feels about Mayor Jessica Ancona.
You're a disgrace. You're disrespectful. Don't understand how a person in her position can spend so much time wanting to retaliate and harass a resident.
This case really comes down to the right to criticize government officials and not be retaliated against.
But a few months ago at a public event, something else happened involving the mayor.
Out in public, she sends a known gang member from El Monte Flores to intimidate my client.
Mayor Ancona, seen here wearing a green top, appears to motion to the tall man wearing the number 92 jersey. He points his finger and then walks over to Leos.
Hey, why are you recording her?
Leos explains that she's recording because the mayor's friends were recording her.
Do you know that this mayor right here, she called my job and tried to get me fired? Did you know that? He tells me that he's from, a gang in our neighborhood. And at that point, I kind of stopped filming.
Step out of the car or I'm taking you out of the car.
You're taking me out of the car for what? Your tickets are signed. I haven't gotten my copy yet.
Step out of the car.
Nah, I don't even feel safe around you. Nope. 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 Nope.
Resisting. I just want you to know you guys are falsely imprisoning me. Get out! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Wanted to beat us.
The newspaper had run a series of stories critical of county officials.
Is this back in the day? When that take a damn black guy, whooped your ass and throw him in the cell? I'd run the sheriff county.
Well, it's not like that no more.
I know. We're taking down on Mud Creek and hanging them up in the damn road.
Yeah.
But you can't do that.
Think about it,
They got more rights than we got. He said, it will. I told you it will.
Yeah.
So I know where 2-3 deep holes are here.
I got an excavator.
These are pretty up.
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt now calling for the sheriff and council members to be removed. None of the 4 officials allegedly involved have responded to
Stephen, you hear a lot of disgusting things on those recordings, but you were telling me there's even grosser things we're talking about?
Yeah, this is 3 hours and 37 minutes, and some of it is quite rambling. There was a woman who died in an arson fire. They referred to that as a barbecue.
As a barbecue?
A barbecue, yeah. It's disturbing to hear that. And then also they talk about trying to fight the district attorney in this area, confronting him in his office and fighting him is what the discussion is on that tape. Just a small part of what is in this released by the newspaper today.
Anisha Nixon was excited to move to the southwest side of Grand Rapids.
A Grand Rapids woman says she was disheartened recently to find an unwelcoming letter in the mailbox of her new home.
It said, "We will call Protective Services 911-311 Section 8 if needed. We will not play any games with you on that. Remember that, please."
The initial excitement that Nixon had to move here to the Southwest Side quickly fading the further she reads into the letter.
My heart just dropped.
A list of rules for the neighborhood, ranging from the basic, like trash removal, to telling her she wasn't allowed to interact with her neighbors.
Number 7, your neighbors want to be left alone. They are not your friends or your family. Just for me not to even have the opportunity or to be told that I can't do that, that's what kind of hurt it a lot.
Multiple times, threats to call police or even Child Protective Services.
The police will be called ASAP. Life is too short.
It came from the neighborhood association because the envelope was labeled John Ball area neighbors. Nixon says as a single black mom, she feels unfairly stereotyped.
The way I look, that can be the only thing I was judged by.
Erupted after hearing they will need to go to the city for a permit to do something they have been doing for years. And some say this is just going to hurt the people that they are trying to help.
A new ordinance there will add an extra step for those looking to try to help the homeless.
The city of Shawnee now requires a permit to any group that gives food to the homeless in the downtown area.
In many ways, the world is a better place than it was yesterday, just judging by objective measures. We are currently in the belly of the period in which a crisis occurs. You see, going all the way back to the 1400s, these 80 to 100 year cycles have repeatedly played out, ending in a crisis, typically surrounded by war and destruction. Memory. Someone who is about 20 years old today at the time of World War II would be somewhere around 100 years old today. I think that this is a particularly dangerous moment in time just because of the fact that most of the people who lived through the Great Depression or World War II are no longer with us today. Our living memory of these tumultuous events is pretty much gone. But I can't help shake the feeling that something is off, and perhaps terribly so. And therefore, I have to ask the question, does anyone else feel like everything has changed?
I'll tell you a true story. On a Friday night, we worked a homicide on a guy named Angel Ramirez. Hooker shot him in the head with 38, dead as hell. That following Monday, a kid posted where he threw a bulldog off of a bridge because she wouldn't hunt. That happened on Saturday morning, but he posted it on Monday. Here come people. I talked to 0 news outlets about the murder of the dog. I talked to news outlets from New Zealand, from Australia, from Switzerland, from every friggin' state in this U.S. I spent 2 solid weeks on the phone over the dog.
What is what?
A Rule 8 hearing.
Rule 8? I don't know. The Rule 8 hearing is when they don't have any money and
their poverty.
The poverty stricken, yes. So I need my tactical vest that I put over my bulletproof vest. My shoulder pads all wore off because I've shot too much with it.
Yeah.
My personal number is 2120938. If I get in jail, you can come bail me out. Larry, you still in my room ready on the 3rd floor by the tower? Yeah. So that's what I told everybody. Everybody starts laughing. I said, don't laugh, motherfucker.
I need to call Judge DeWitt or Judge DeBerry, but I think they're in Texas. I think I can call Emily. I'll call Emily. I said, ma'am, you can call anybody. I thought, just keep throwing people under the bus. Dansby, he's just standing there, him and little Tadbo. And Sanders, he goes, called her by name, whatever her name is. Just calm down. I did something stupid. I shouldn't have tried to go and help my friend, but I did it. It's done. Well, I don't think that they went there to kill him.
No, I don't.
They went to burn the house.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
You just
They didn't go there.
Yeah, but that's still illegal. They never even started the eviction process, did they?
But no. But the granddaughter.
You had $5,000 cash in your wallet.
That man got more
When they put
money
him
than
in
he
jail.
spent in his lifetime.
It cost $50 to do eviction notice.
Yeah. The granddaughter turns around and she looks at me and she goes, I just don't understand why y'all are doing this. He was just helping his friend, and by then I was going to lose my religion. I said, ma'am, someone died here today. Okay.
I figured Range Center's done anything hard.
No. And they was telling me, I said, man, I know that name. I said, pull it, see if he's got a Facebook. I was like, dude, I know him.
He does all the pictures.
Well, he's retired state forest service.
And
He's a fireman.
how many of his grandkids? I mean, good
Yeah.
grandpa, good.
Yes, good guy. And I thought, and it really blew my mind. And
They went
It
to
was,
burn the
it was,
house.
it was. But what if it's your own property, you can't do it for others doing that? Seriously, you know, come statute, you can't do that.
if it's a building, it's got to be torn down before it sets up set a fire. We do know at one time that they were out of the house, but she went back in to save pets. And there was 2 dogs that was dead in the house or in the back room where we found located her. Depends on the witnesses, and we do. And the reason why I do know she was outside the house at one time because she had the cellar on her feet and lower extremities. So we say it in the house is right there at the front door and the front window. And they said they knocked the window. Randy said, we knocked the window out and poured. I don't know if he said gasoline or diesel. Anyway, he poured some type of accelerant on there and lit it with a big lighter. We know that happened because they openly said, yes, I did that. And that's what the other guy, and she said that. We got that recorded conversation. She said that. That's what she said. Now, she was saying that she was inside the house. They're saying that all of them was outside the house. I was arguing.
You know what I tell everybody? I said, no, the commissioners have a special cell in case we fuck up. They have a big screen TV, they have a lazy boy recliner, wet bar. I said, fuck, we get top priority up there, so you don't know this fucking job. I've known 2 or 3 hit men that were very quiet guys.
Yeah.
And would cut no fucking mercy.
Yeah.
In Louisiana. Because it was all mafia around
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the.
They like to back when Coach Ray was here, and they was burning all these places.
That's where they knocked them over.
Yes, the state fire marshal's office come down there and told him they was fixing to put him in jail if he set another house on fire. And that's been 20 years ago.